Everybody, I'm going to share a dream that the Lord gave me. It's been over a year since I've had this dream, and I've held on to it because it was very vivid. I held on to it basically because I didn't want to cause any division, any arguments. What I saw in the dream was literally, when I think about it right now, it had me in shock at the time of the dream. Now, the truth that I saw in the dream, I already knew through studying Scripture, seeking the Father in the Spirit, through prayer, through Him leading me down rabbit holes and popping back out, and Him verifying truth to me. All this I did in the Spirit for years before I had this dream. So it was a shock, though, in the detail that I saw. And again, be respectful in the comments. I don't want to cause, any discourse, or anything, because everyone, look, there is a strong delusion over this world. If you haven't realized by now, it goes into more than just social aspects. It goes into the metaphysical parts of our world, the physical parts of our world. And I will say this: we have been lied to at a very young age, indoctrinated into thinking that the world is a certain way, which it is not. And I pray that you seek the Father on what I am going to share so that He can confirm it to you. Don't just take my word for it. I always ask that, because this is not, I could not have seen this on my own without the Lord leading me to it. So in this dream, I'm in a field of wheat, and it's about shoulder height everywhere, as far as I can see. And in the snap of a finger, I shoot up in the sky, and I'm up in the atmosphere, and I'm looking down on Earth, and I noticed something right away. The Earth didn't have to spin or rotate for me to see everything. And then I noticed that the sun was behind me, casting a light down. But as I was turning, I knew the sun was not 93 million miles away. I knew that in the dream. In the Spirit, the Lord was confirming that with me. Then I look across from where I'm at, and I see the moon. But the moon was out of view of anyone on Earth. And I knew that in the dream, I knew that these lights had prescribed ordinances given to them by the Most High. That they showed themselves, they rose and set at the command of the Most High, the Lord of Spirits. I knew this. So I'm looking down on Earth, and I see all the continents, and I see all the islands, and I could see everything. All the mountain ranges, and I notice around all the continents and the islands is a perfect perimeter, perfect circle, okay? And this perimeter was a raised edge, and it was, I know now, but I didn't know at the time, but I know now, it was frozen. And I know when I saw this, look, take this up with the Father in heaven. All right? But this edge was frozen. And as soon as I see this, I realize all the water on Earth, the known world, all the continents and islands, was trapped in by this frozen edge. Literally, it was a perimeter. And I knew in the dream, don't ask me how, that the moon was not causing the tides. I knew that in the dream because everything was pressurized. And the water would hit up against this perimeter and then push back in towards the land, all the continents. And it was perfectly measured. Every inch, square inch, was perfectly measured on this creation model. And that's what I call it, a creation model. And have called it ever since. Now, this frozen edge went up in a perfect circle around all the land, continents and islands. It went up and then over, and it went for as far as I could see, frozen desert in all directions. But in the center was all the continents and all the land. Now, this frozen desert, as far as I could see, way out there, I saw what is called in Scripture the firmament. And it was over everything. It was set on top of all of the land, the islands, and the edge of the firmament was laid down out in that frozen desert on the whole perimeter of Earth. And I mean, the frozen desert went forever in each direction. And the word infinite came to mind. And after I had this dream, the Lord led me to the book of Job, where the Most High is telling Job that no one knows the boundaries of earth. Literally, no one. And as I'm looking around, I realize that this is very intimate. All of earth. And that the Most High, and I know this, and it's written in Scripture, that He is not far off. That He is close at hand. And the setting I'm seeing is a very intimate setting. I also knew that this firmament, I was inside it. The sun and the moon were inside this firmament that was crystal. I say it was crystal. You know, it could be a heavenly material that we don't have on earth. But the stars were, some of them were fixed into the firmament. And as I'm looking up, I know that there's water above me, and I know that there's water below. And honestly, the land looked like it was floating on the great waters. So, and I'm thinking in the dream, in the beginning, everything, there was water. Until the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the face of the deep. And I knew that the water below earth was the great deep. I knew that in my dream. It came to my mind. And I've researched that. And honestly, an explorer took a submarine down to the ocean floor and found a pressurized area where more water below the ocean was pushing up against the ocean floor. So water below was pushing on the water, the ocean water. So the salt water here, the ocean, was pushing on an even more dense form of water. And it was pressurized, and that is exactly what I saw in this dream. Everything was pressurized perfectly. And I didn't know about that submarine expedition until after I had the dream. This is very difficult to share because I don't want to cause any arguments. If you know me, I'm not about that. I'm not about that. I love all my brothers and sisters. We all come to the truth in different seasons. I'm not here to cause any discourse, but I will tell you this. I knew in the dream that nothing came down to earth or went up to heaven without going through the Son, the Messiah. And I knew how humble the Most High was about His creation and loving, but also how serious He was about anything making it up through the firmament into the heavens above. I knew that. Everything was controlled. And and since I've had the dream, the Lord has given me a few messages like, don't be deceived, Sean. When you see these things coming on the earth, don't be deceived. And it's made me think about, seeing this controlled environment, that humanity doesn't have as much power as they would make you believe. When it comes to making war and all these things, they don't. Everything is done. In other words, a lot of it is deception to get you to think a certain way or act a certain way. So the biggest thing was, don't be deceived, Sean. This is mine. I knew in the dream, earth, this creation, everything that I could see in the dream, literally I could turn. I didn't have to look underneath or anything spin. I saw it all. I knew that it was the gold standard of the Most High. It was the apple of his eye. And that he, in the end, got the last say. I knew that in the dream. Now, the planets, what they call planets, I knew in the dream no one was living on these objects. They were like a clock piece, like a timepiece. And I don't know what they were, but they were round, but they weren't like in outer space. They were inside the firmament. All of these celestial objects, and they all moved in accordance with the times and seasons for Earth. So again, it was like the Earth was like the face of a clock, and all these things in the heavens were used for appointed times, to bring forth seasons and whatnot, based on the command and the ordinances given to these objects by the Most High. Just like all of Scripture says. It was exactly how Scripture describes creation. The book of Enoch, the Bible, anything that you can find, it was exactly like that. And again, I'm not going to give a title to it, but looking back, I went to the Lord led me to the book of Job. No one knows the perimeter or the actual boundaries of the earth. And, the word infinite came to me in the dream and has come to me since, meaning that, this frozen desert where the firmament sat down, I don't know what was past that. I don't. But when the Father told me infinite, I'm thinking like infinite, like I was thinking of an infinite plane, but that we were in this controlled environment, and it was very protected and very well thought out. He didn't miss a square inch. Just like you were thought out, just like he wants to have an intimate relationship with you. And all these pseudosciences and, NASA and all these people want you to think that there's all these galaxies and God is far off and you're just a speck of dust and, a drop in the bottle, when that is not what I saw, and that's not what the Most High showed me. But yes, take it to the Father in prayer. But we have been lied to since the beginning since we were very young. I love you guys. Another thing that's come to me in the past couple of days is stay in a humble, repentive state. Time is short. We don't know how much time we have, but we know it's short. It fires me up at how this strong delusion has been cast, like literally a spell over Earth. How long have they been talking about space travel? What if I told you the same stuff they're spewing right now they did back in the 60s too? And then before that they did it in the 1940s. Oh, we're going to Mars. You're not going anywhere. You liar. And the thing is, they know the truth. The Lord in the dream, it was all coming so fast, but he made me well aware that there are forces on earth that know the truth, and they are hiding it from his children. But the Father, because People are proud in their hearts. He has let them fall into this strong delusion, because people who love him and love the truth will come to the truth. I knew that in the dream, just like I did. I came to the truth. Yeah, he led me to a lot of it, but I came to the truth because I love him. With every ounce of my being, I love the Father in heaven. And I love the Lord. And there's people in this world, vain spirits and vain people and forked-tongued liars who don't. And they're disobedient and in open rebellion, and they want to drag you down to the deep with them. Don't let that happen. Don't let them win. As I'm sharing this stream right now, my voice is, I don't know how I'm just all of a sudden losing my voice, but, the spiritual attacks are real. Very real. We just need to keep pushing on. There's something so much greater on the other side of all this. And your flesh is so weak. Mine is so weak. It's just, that is the thing. My spirit, if it was up to me, I would slay myself. That my spirit is not pleased with my flesh at all. We got to keep pushing on. Time is short. Love you.